Well, when I first heard about the Adivation, I was like, oh my god, here we go again. Back to Baumandal.
As a Balika, I never actually got to participate in that Shibir. I never got to participate in the Adivation.
The first thing I said to myself, I don't know anything about Adivation. All I've heard is it's definitely difficult.
My initial thought was, whoa, how on earth am I going to study and prepare for this? I haven't been in school in a while.
When I first heard about Adivation, my first reaction was, not this again.
In the summer of 2015, over 10,000 Sanyukta and Premati Karikars, as well as 1,100 Yuvaks and Yuvatis throughout North America, came together to participate in an event called the Adivation in 6 different regions. With the aim to please Guru Hari Pramukh Swami Maharaj and to increase their satsang depth, these individuals prepared for months to participate in various competitions. By the wish of Param Swarup Pramukh Swami Maharaj, Sadguru Sant Param Pujya Dr. Swami also blessed these events.
What is the purpose of your study? Paisa kama, dollar. Dollar will run after you. You have not to run after dollars, no. They will run after you. Rajiv. Rajiva માટે ભણો. વેપાર કરો છો, રાજીપા માટે વેપાર કરો. નોકરી કરો છો, રાજીપા માટે નોકરી કરો. રાજી થાય એવી રીતે નોકરી કરો.
The purpose of this Shibir was basically to learn these spiritual teachings and implement them in your life. So some of these teachings include not having ego, being able to understand that you're the Atma and not this body.
Coming to Mandir for all these years as a Yuva, I feel like we sort of lack when it comes to having that knowledge of our Shastras.
When I first heard about the Adivation, I was excited. I thought it was a step in the right direction, especially for Yuvaks to develop our satsang knowledge, so I was looking forward to it.
When I first heard about the Adivation, the first word that came to my mind was hard work, just because for me it's not easy.
The last time I took part in Adivation was 1996 at Catskills. I was only 13 then, and I remembered a lot of the things we did, the mukbat we did, all the Swamini Vatos, and all the fun times we had. So it refreshed those memories.
When I found out about Adivation early this year, the initial thoughts were pretty negative, and I was afraid. I didn't know what to expect. This is the first Adivation I would ever take part in, and so, I didn't know if I could memorize that many vatos and quotes and stuff. So I was scared.
Well, when I first heard at when I had come with the Kishoris about Adivation in general, I thought, wow, what an undertaking this is going to be for everybody. And at that time, I briefly thought, well, this is something I need to do, but I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to work.
So there's 25 topics in the book, and I did all 25.
I chose to participate in all of the skills competitions this year. So I did the solo singing, I did the Nirupan, MC, short speech, as well as the Purna Mukbat, as well as the graphics design, app concept, and multimedia.
So my favorite quotation is Samjan hare samye વાત કરી છે જો માર કરતો કોઈ આવતો હોય તો એમ સમજવું જોઈએ મારા સ્વામીનું જ કર્યું સર્વે થાય છે ને તે વિના કોઈનું હલાવેલું પાંદડું પણ હલતું નથી. That quotation really just kind of struck home to me because it shows us at the end of the day everything that we're doing, all this preparation is really for Swami's Rajipo because Maharaj is sarva karta.
Started originally was that when I put my kids to sleep, I would, as they're sleeping, I would start preparing in another room every day. So as soon as I got the book, I started preparing. Spent about half hour, 45 minutes every day.
So in the beginning when I started doing Mukbat, I was doing more like one quote a day. And then I felt like, okay, the ones that I did before, I was forgetting them. And I was like, all right, I'll just review them at the end. And then I thought more about it. I did more Antadrashti and I thought this is for Bapa's Rajipo. And am I really making him Raji by just putting little effort into this? And I thought about my career. I have put so much effort into it, and whenever it comes to career or education, I persevere no matter what. So I thought that why not do this in Adivation?
The way that my wife and I did preparation was that as soon as I would come home, we would quiz each other of whatever things we had learned on that day. We come into Mandir, we would start quizzing each other. We're going shopping, we would talk through it in the car.
When I thought about it, I thought about other obstacles, like, not obstacles per se, but family. My kids, my, work, I'm also studying on the side. So all this stuff, I'm like, I'm not really going to be able to make it. I'll do as much as I can to make Bapa Raji, but I don't know if I'm going to do platinum or not.
That was the tricky part, I think. I think the biggest obstacle for everyone is time, right? We're limited in time. So you have to make sacrifices somewhere. My routine would normally be after work, I would come home, watch, eat dinner, play with my kids for a little bit, and then watch TV. So in order to fit time in to practice for Adivation, what I did was when I come home, I would definitely eat and then play with my kids.
The Adivation was initially launched. It kind of looked overwhelming when you realize that each topic has 5 quotations and Hari Charitramrut Sagar and all of these references that I've never really looked into very much. It did.
But instead of my TV time, which I normally watch sports or shows or something like that, I took that out and replaced that with Adivation, studying Mukbat and stuff like that. Also, on my commute to work, we were lucky that they made up the audiobooks. So all my commute to work every day, I would listen to the section I was doing that day, and on the way back, I would be able to listen to it.
But I also realized the whole process of planning time-wise, it made me look into my day-to-day activities and realize that there are pockets of my day that are idle.
Because the way the booklet was made, the quotes were in Gujarati, then the transliteration was right underneath it, and then the explanation was it. So the way the book was constructed, it was perfectly, because now you can read the Gujarati. You have an opportunity to read in Gujarati, and if you don't understand it, or if you don't know how to pronounce it, you can always go back to the transliteration part and sort of read that out, and then understand what the meaning is.
Every morning on my way to work, my wife and I drive together. So we quiz each other and we try to do one topic in that full ride. So we try to squeeze the 5 quotes in the 1 hour ride to work. And then on the way back in the evening, 1 hour back, we try to review those 5 quotes.
With the minimum time spent for dinners, we would just cook khichdi like 4 days in a row. and then everybody in the family would sit down with one kid, and then each one would be in the corner of a house reading for their Adivation. And then we would just be asking questions to each other, because one goal in everybody's mind was Bapa's Rajiko.
We try to push that for at least a week, and then that's how we just memorized one topic essentially a week. And then towards the end, it was crunch time. And for crunch time, we both just kind of sat down. My sister joined us as well, so us three as a family effort. We just did like 2-3 topics a day.
So then I went to my mom, and literally every day, every time I learned something, it was like, okay, Mom, test me on this, Mom, test me on that. And she's strict, she's not gonna let you pass by. So it was like, judges won't accept this. You know, your mother, I feel like she was like my biggest supporter in this. She was able to, you know, push me through and say, you need a little more help on this.
I don't know about everyone else, but for me, what helped was breaking the content up. You know, some of the Swamini Vata, some of the Vajramrita quotations were a lot longer, and so it was important to break them up and repeat them as I go and continue to repeat them over and over again.
Or if I didn't know it, she would explain it to me, you know, this means this, so you're saying it wrong, or tu bol jaldi boluchu, or then a reference nawarto. So for the most part, I think my mom was my biggest help in this.
And then relate them back to maybe something personal in my life that maybe I was a swabal that I needed to improve on. And so this was a way that I was able to relate it back to that, you know, something about above gun. So thinking about that, it was important for me to realize that.
My husband participated in Adivation, and the two of us both studied together. We both tried to make sure that we encouraged each other. He encouraged me far more than I encouraged him. He was very consistent about studying, so whenever I lapsed in my studying, or whenever I lapsed in understanding the Adivation material, he would jump in and make sure that he really pushed me.
The most difficult part about the Adivation is overcoming yourself, overcoming the blocks that your mind gives you when you're trying to study, and trying to keep the studying going. Aside from that, you know, just keeping everything in your head. Sometimes I find myself studying a few chapters and then forgetting them a few days later, and revising it over and over again was something that was challenging, but at the end of the day, it was fun, it was enjoyable.
The biggest challenge is time, which I try to, you know, work around. Another challenge is just trying to remember stuff. I've been out of school for a long time, so I really haven't studied, you know, memorized stuff in such a long time. To get back on that track again was kind of challenging. In the beginning, I would memorize the Vat, and then the next day when I try to remember it again, it'd be gone. So it was a challenge just to get to my brain to start thinking and to start memorizing stuff again. So that was one of the biggest challenges I faced.
I have had challenges all throughout my life, as anybody does, but I was born prematurely and was born blind, so I haven't seen all my life. Yet, through Bapa's grace and Krupa, I got married, I have a little girl, and so challenges of, you know, raising a child and marriage, and I'm a teacher as well, a music teacher, and have been so for 17 years. And so the challenge of working professionally is challenging for anyone, but I've had a few extra challenges along the way.
I think some of the challenges was, in my mind, for the longest time, I thought I could never memorize. And for that reason, I was always stuck. I thought that if it was only memorization that I was doing this for, what's the purpose? I'm not going to get anything out of it. And so that was one of the reasons that sort of held me back initially. But over time, I think what we learned is that, you know, the Adivation, and what Dr. Swami said on Thursday was very nicely put. He said that Adivation is there to bring awareness to that Janpanu, that you need to start this off.
So the fact that I'm a father and a husband and also a participant and organizer in this event, that within itself created some challenges, because I only have so much spare time that I could dedicate for this. And so, you know, there were times where I wanted to start early as a participant and prepare my material, but at the same time, as an organizer, I knew that there were certain deadlines that were fast approaching. I also knew that I have to spend some time with my family as well.
I am married, I work 2 jobs, I'm doing MBA, I had 3 summer classes, which felt like it was the busiest summer that I've ever had in my life, but I tried to take out time every single day, whether it was while I was cooking, I would try to remember Swami Vat. While I was driving, I commute about 3-4 hours a day. While I'm driving, I either listen to Katha or I try to listen to the quotations that we were able to receive.
I had to sacrifice, the main thing was sleep, because when time goes away, you got to find some place to fit in mukbad. This is something that makes Bappa happy, and so there were times when I had to just sacrifice sleep and say, you know, I'm going to stay up tonight and try to get one section in or try to practice my skill.
There are, challenges at work. There are challenges at home that you have to worry about. And for me, I have to travel often for work, and so trying to balance the time I spend at the client side, helping, taking on the workload, as well as taking time out at night to prepare was important. And I think with the Purna Mukbad, it was important to continue to build on what you learned. So when you recite the first, topic that you might have memorized, you need to continue that.
To be honest, I don't think there was really a need to sacrifice. This is something that becomes a part of your life. If you're sacrificing something, then that means that you didn't give it enough importance in the first place. So there's no need to sacrifice, and I don't think I did.
Right from the beginning, from when the Adiveshan started and we launched it, and just from every part of it, not just the mukbad, but even doing the Prathmik mukbad with learning Arti, it has changed things in the smallest ways. It just has made satsang more actively involved in my life. For example, when I sang Arti every day, I never knew what Pamara Patita Udharya meant. And I just sang it because it's part of our Arti and it's part of our, Ahni Kriya, but now, even without thinking about it, I just automatically think about its meaning. Like, it just comes so naturally, and I think that's the biggest impact of doing this mukbad.
The one thing I could tell you from this entire Adivation thing is that it changed the entire environment at home. Especially in the last couple of months, what happened was, before, usually after everything is done in the evening, after everyone's done with their chores and all that, people make their way towards the room. But now that the Adivation was here, everyone would stick around. They would gather around the kitchen island and test each other. So the environment was totally different, and especially the last month, it was just something very special to see in my family.
I feel like I've learned that about myself personally, that nothing can stop me. I mean, you say that sometimes, but sometimes you don't really understand. In the back of your mind, you're still questioning yourself. But I feel like if you work hard enough for something, or work through it and really put your mind to it, it will happen. It's going to happen.
The skills that I've gained, I think Mandir in general, ever since coming here, has given me a lot of skills. It has honed a lot of my skills, presentation skills, namely. And like I said, to memorize anything in a short amount of time and be able to recite that information accurately is important in my profession. We have a lot of presentations in front of City Council, community hearings, so be able to reference whether it's other people's comments that were concerning a certain project or referencing actual legal codes is always important.
All of the material, I think, will help in satsang. Understanding that every portion of our lives is associated with satsang. So the recipe for happiness, the recipe for a successful career, the recipe for a happy, united family, it's all written in this booklet that we were provided with.
Satsang essentially gets stronger, but it made an impact on our relationship that we understand each other a lot more. For example, there was this topic of man, right? And in that, it's all about ego, letting go of your ego and how ego destroys us. There's one specific quote from the Haricharitra Sagar scripture, and it's "So papama motu pap, ne so kalankma motu kalank manche." And just how strong that statement is, it helps us that, even though we probably clash each other and probably butt heads against each other, that ego can destroy such an important relationship.
But the more I started doing it, I learned that this is actually very beneficial. And I also learned a lot of things I didn't know. And it kind of showed me how much I still need to know in satsang. So it's very good. One of the key Swami Vats that I loved and I learned during Adivation was, Gunatyan Swami says, ભગવાનને બચતા બધા હરિભક્તો બ્રહ્મરૂપ છે, દિવ્ય પ્રકાશે યુક્ત છે અને આ સમજે તેનો મોક્ષનો માર્ગ નિર્વિઘ્ન બની જાય છે. We always struggle in Mandir in our path to moksha because of different things. And one of the reasons he says is we don't see everyone as Brahmrup. And if we start doing that and start actually applying that, it's very beneficial. And there's so many other vats like this that I learned during Adivation.
But I think one of the most important things that I did learn was through different challenges and setbacks that came my way in my life over the past 8 months, I was so determined and I was able to persevere, and I think that was one of my greatest lessons.
One of the Swamini Vat that said, Jem Mavtar Chokrani Rakshama che, ne Raja Prajani Rakshama che, tem Bhagwan Apni Rakshama che. I began to see this play out in my life, and I continue to realize that Swami Shri was, is, and will be with me. And this is the biggest way that I was able to connect to Swami Shri and be able to feel his presence in my life.
Adivation has been incorporated into my life in many ways. I'll say number one is my seva as a campus Sabha, being part of the campus Sabha team and working with kids in college. They just are so much more prepared in terms of their satsang depth than I ever was. They know Wachanamrit references, they know their grunts in a much deeper way, and I knew I needed to do something to stay relevant.
There's a deeper meaning behind it. This is more for like the longevity of your life. You imbibe on these principles and you take these scriptures, and let's say if you're coming across a hardship in life, these scriptures somehow, some way, always find a way back to you and help increase your Jodan with Baba. And honestly, just having that constant smruti and constantly, even while memorizing whatever it was, I constantly had Bapa in my mind that, you know what, this is for his Rajipo. It's not for just passing for the sake of passing.
So by reading the quotes that we had in the book was very interesting to me, that it kind of, gave me like an introspection in a way that I can look back and say, okay, what do I need to do to improve myself in satsang? And so I think overall was like very good learning experience for me, and I think it's gonna benefit me hopefully in the future.
One of the biggest things that I found Adivation has helped with, just by reading the Gujarati Swamini Vat, Vachanamrit quotations, or the Haricharitaramrut Sagar quotations, have given new insight that otherwise are not conveyed when read in English. And just the way the words are articulated in Gujarati, they have more of an emphasis about how, about the meaning overall, and that really inspires you.
One of the vat that I read, which said that Brahmana kalpa sudhi ashtang yog sadhe, ashwamegh yagna kare, ke nitya karor gayonu daan kare, to pan a satsang vina moksha thai nahi. Basically, it just gives us the perspective of how lucky we are to have this satsang, and without this satsang, you could do so many things, but you can't get moksha.
Because of this Adivation, it kind of brought us together. The Mukpat together, understanding her thought process behind doing satsang, my thought process behind doing satsang, and then the common goal of making Swami Raji. That kind of brought the whole thing together. So I'm happy that this Adivation happened. For sure, I'm really glad, because for us to be able to spend all this time together and still understand that we can live life and incorporate satsang while doing other things.
It's earning Swami's Rajipo. That's the biggest thing. Opportunities come and go, and this is one opportunity that I did not want to let go. And so Adivation, like I said, last time was in 1996, and now, which is, I don't know, 15, 16 years later. And so we don't know when the next Adivation is going to be. And so I definitely didn't want this opportunity to slip by.
My motivation, of course, was to please Swami, but also it was a self-motivating thing as well for me to know, I can do this. It is difficult, but now that I've done it, now that I've memorized these items, or even in the Pratmik, just being stronger on that level will only deepen my jora.
My inspiration were the Kishores and Bapa's Rajipo. Rajipo is always there, but having to see somebody obtain that Rajipo and see like the smiles on their face when they come back with their medals and stuff, that was like, I want to get that same exact Rajipo. I want to have that same sukh from the inside, the shanti. So I wanted to do it.
My driving force was definitely Bapa's Rajipo. I think I strive for that the most. But very recently, my family went through a tragedy. I lost my brother. And I kind of stopped doing it because it was so hard. And basically, I just reminded myself that the topic was Samjan, and one of my favorite quotes is in the Samjan category. So I did this for my brother, and I did it for Bapa's Rajipo.
The overall experience was enlightening. There were a lot of new things that we got to learn. The quotations really essentially fueled my conviction and reinforced everything that I'm doing as a BAPS Satsangi and as an organizer, as a volunteer as well.
I have a newborn, but I also have a 2.5-year-old son, and it was nice to see. He surprises me sometimes with bats that he learned just hearing me and my husband repeat them around the house. So there's about 6 or 7 new Samini batos that I didn't even know he knew. That he'll just start saying while he's playing with his toys. He'll just start saying Samni Bato, and I'll like turn around and go, oh my gosh, he knows that one. So it'd be nice to keep it going so that even though he's too young to participate, he can still keep learning Bats along with me and learn Mukbat with us.
I think what I learned is that satsang is beautifully simple. It's not actually as overcomplicated as you might think. So many scriptures and maybe so many niyam dharms. But in doing and reciting the Mukbat, it really hits home how beautiful satsang is, how beautiful our Satpurush is.
Okay, I guess the Adivation experience was eye-opening, kind of, in that just reminding me that how important just these small sentences are and how much Gnan is actually in them.
Every time I would start my reviewing, I'd always think about Swami Shri first. So it kind of basically brought me closer to Swami Shri as well while doing this whole Adivation.
I'm thankful because nobody else has this opportunity to really establish a firm conviction in their faith through a process like this. I don't know anybody else in my life that has had this opportunity. And because I have, I know that there is no moving way left or right. It's one direct path. And that is because of what Swami has provided us through the Adivation.
Now that the Adivation is completed, I think one of the main things that I took away was actually seeing everyone else's dedication to this Adivation, seeing everyone else, how much enthusiasm they had for it. That was just really encouraging to see that. That was really motivational for me.
I did better than I thought I would, but with that said, I could have done a lot more. So what my goal was, I achieved that goal, but I could have easily had a higher target and still hit that target.
તો સર્ટિફિકેટ ભગવાનનું લેવાની ટેવ રાખવી. બીજાના સર્ટિફિકેટ લેવાની ટેવ પાડશો ને તો તમે પાછા પડી જશો. કોઈના સર્ટિફિકેટ લેવા એટલે ફૂલાઈ નહીં જવાય. અને ઘણી વાત કોઈ સર્ટિફિકેટ નહીં પણ આપે. તમે સારું કર્યું છે ને તો એ કદર નહીં કરે, કંઈ વાંધો નહીં. એ રાજી થાય છે. આ વિચાર રાખવાનો. આ પ્રેક્ટિસથી આવશે. પણ એમાં સિદ્ધિ છે.
Adivation is just not for 2 days. We should try to imbibe these values that we memorized in our life, and I'm hoping to maintain that those quotes that I memorize and do manan on them and hope to retain it throughout my life and earn Bapa's Rajipo.
Absolutely. I would do it again.
Yes, I think I would definitely partake in this Adivation again, and I would now also encourage my friends to do it, because even if it's not a matter of how you're finishing, but just the process itself, I think it's an experience that everybody should go through.
In the future, I hear about another Adivation that's going to come up. I'm definitely going to participate. I'll actually look forward to it the next time around, and I definitely want to up my mukbat goal and aim for the highest level that there is.
If I had to do this all over again, I would. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of time, effort, and energy, but I think it was worth it.